you like what you see, please hit that like button, hit that share button, hit that subscribe button. Triplemania 33 was last weekend. How did you enjoy the show? Because this is your first Triplemania, I believe.
Yeah, first Triplemania in whole watching. I mean, I had seen highlights in past years. Vampiro flipping out about his music, if you remember that. I saw.
Yeah, I remember that one well.
Yeah, I believe he
That
farted.
was the year that when Vampiro was getting into the ring, I believe it was to face off with Conan.
Yes.
And that had been like this big feud they were building, and it was a hilarious blooper from that time frame.
Yeah, I believe Matt Stryker was there trying to convince them, just go ahead, you're a legend. And he's like, I want my fucking music. So that was my past experience with Triplemania. I enjoyed this show a lot. You know, this little mini Royal Rumble they had in the beginning here. Hold on a second here.
Oh, you talking about the Copa Bear doll?
Yeah, the Copa Bear doll. Here we go. I had the wrong card pulled up here. Notes. This was a previous one. Yeah, Almost was the big winner here. Almost coming out, facing off with Microman. That was a sight.
Right off his pot of gold.
Yeah, pot is gold. Dude, this was a lot of silliness, but there was some good stuff. Otis dancing with one of the exoticas. I enjoyed it.
Now Escarlita.
Yeah, I thought it was fun. I had a good time with this. I mean, there was some more silliness later on the show. I believe I talked to you about that I didn't enjoy as much because I felt like the placement was a little off. But right here in the beginning, this little battle royal, this was fun. And hey, it was interesting to see Almost used in this capacity. And we'll see how Almost does in AAA.
Yeah, it was a nice way for them to kick off the show. The Copa Bear dolls or the Copa Royal Rumbles that basically start these shows are always fun. Sometimes in Mexico, I don't know if I'd say they're a little sillier, but you'd see like a vast array of characters come out. I really enjoyed it. One thing I will say about this card is it was definitely AAA, but
Yes.
it was like the most Americanized AAA I've seen yet. They went from their 6-sided ring to their 4-sided ring, but that arena they were in looked huge, and it was a great look for AAA overall.
Well produced. Microman for president, says Cage My IQ. Thank you for the comments. Good to hear from you. Dr. Ragnar Jr. defeated Messias. Dorian. This was okay. I didn't really love it or hate it. It was interesting, and I think I was more distracted by Conan in the crowd with Dr. Wagner Sr. going at it a little bit. You know, I wanted to see a little more of that. But this was fine, and Dr. Wagner Jr. gets the win.
This is El Hijo del Dr. Wagner Jr., so it's like Dr. Wagner Jr. Jr. He comes out with Dr. Wagner Jr.,
Right.
has that connection to Conan. Of the matches on this card, it's big for AAA, you know, their Latin American Championship. El Hijo del Dr. Wagner Jr. does time in Pro Wrestling Noah. So you're getting kind of that also international feel. Wow, I could see it.
They want to market Microman like they do Mr. Iguana. We'll see. It'll be interesting.
What I'd really like to see out of this AAA partnership, and I don't know if it's possible, is maybe getting mini wrestling back into form. It's one of those things that Vince had early on in WWF, and it stood out, and then it went out of favor. They did it a little bit in the mid 2010s, so I say bring back the minis.
The minis still have a place in Mexico. Do you still see them in AAA? Because I'd say that'd be the way we'll see them displayed if it's a normal thing. I don't know. This is the second card I've really watched for AAA now.
Yeah, from time to time they'll bring out minis. So maybe it could be like an occasional feature.
Judgment Day, Finn Balor, JD McDonough, Raquel Rodriguez with Roxanne Perez defeated Mr. Iguana, Nino Hamburguesa, and Lola Vice. This was a silly match. You know, it was a 6-person match. We had the Iguana come out. I liked Mr. Iguana the first time I saw him. Still enjoy him, but I think at this point I just wasn't really feeling it. And then Finney brought out the mini demon, and I don't know. Then we had hamburgers come out, and at this point in the middle of the card, I was like, all right, this wasn't really my thing, but it was fine for what it was. Judgment Day get the win.
Yeah, this was definitely AAA. You got Hamburger Boy coming out there, big guy, you know, staple of AAA.
Yeah.
It was interesting to see Finn Balor break out a puppet of his own, and then WWE start to sell that puppet. Not surprising that they did it, but it's playing into that AAA thing, so it was a nice touch.
Cage Maku. He liked it better than I did, which is fine. Fun match when the Demon Finn doll. But you know what? I'll tell you what. This next match, This was wild. Pagano and Psycho Clown versus Los Garza. Street fight AAA tag titles. Pagana and Psycho Clown get the tag titles. We saw barbed wire. We saw tables. We saw Spanish flies on barbed wire and tables. This was insanity, and this was fun. This was really the only hardcore match on the show, and I think it kind of stuck out.
Yeah, when you think of Pagano, you're going to think of that hardcore wrestling. You're teaming up two of the bigger stars of AAA, Pagano and Psycho Clown. And I thought it was a great match to feature him in.
And we had the women's match. Women's champion Flammer defeated Fabi Apache and Natalia. And this was a fine match. And this is where I first noticed the heel referee a little bit in this match here. So I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, great to see Natalia on that international stage. I hope she gets featured a little more because, like, of the women on that roster, she's been there a long time. And in this era of women's wrestling, this is when you could really feature her huge.
Cage My Q talking about the match earlier. They didn't hold the titles for long, but at least they gave the Garzas fame for a few months. I appreciate the Garzas having the AAA tag belts. I thought it was something. And I appreciate Natalia being in this match and seeing her on Bloodsport, NWA, AAA. So this is a fun time for WWE being associated with all these companies. But
yeah, the Garzas with those tag titles. It's just a nice representation showing that they're in AAA. I mean, they had been in Mexico before that. So I'm sure it was a nice moment for them as well.
All right. And this is the match that's still the show for me, which is what you want. Main event, match of the night. Io del Vikingo defeated Dominic Mysterio, Dragon Lee, and El Grande Americano. At one point, we saw 3 El Grande Americanos. Io del Vikingo is booed heavily here. Gives you like 2015 Roman Reigns vibes. Dominic Mysterio cheered wildly. Dragon Lee was amazing in this. In the end, Dominic Mysterio loads up his mask, puts a mask on, loads it up. He's laying out everybody, lays out Vikingo. And then we have another mask guy come in the ring, and he pulls off Dom, and it's AJ Styles. AJ Styles at Triplemania, kicks Dom in the gut, gives him the Styles Clash. Vikingo comes off with the big 450 splash. Vikingo retains the title. And now it's Vikingo and Dominic going to have a one-on-one match at Worlds Collide next, I believe it's in September 12th.
Yeah, coming up very quick. I'm glad to see they're getting another event in because, like, I really like this partnership, so I'd like to see more shows like that. Wild end of the show. Crazy to see Vikingo being booed. I heard that's possible due to the fact that he displaced Alberto Del Rio, and Alberto's big in Mexico. And what do you think about Alberto El Patron? Do they bring him back? And could he thrive if brought back?
I mean, they could, I don't think they really want to deal with it. I don't think they care that much. The Mexican people, have seemed to take it out on Vikingo, and they're fine. And, I think wrestling anywhere, it's like anything. They could do something to eventually get Vikingo over, or they can go with it and just make him a heel. And I think they'd rather do that because even though Del Rio is a legend for them, Patron, I don't think they'd rather have to deal with the negative publicity of his past and given his age and stuff too. But, Cage Mike says Rey Mysterio has vouched for him. And, that stuff could all make a difference. Yeah, I don't know. My gun to my head, I don't know if he returns. I'm kind of 50-50 on it. I'll say yes, but maybe it's like a year or two down the road.
See, I'm going to say no, but maybe fan sentiment will grow so big that they'll kind of be forced to move their hand. And, wild accusations against him. He's also had like a notoriously bad attitude, but people can change. Has he been putting in the work? Like if he's got Rey Mysterio vouching for him, Rey, generally considered a good guy. So, you'd like to hope he's taken the turn, but we will have to see how that plays out. You like what you saw, please hit that like button, hit that share button, hit that subscribe button.